Hi, welcome to Franklin's Group. If you've got an overlocker for Christmas or you're looking for a nice simple beginner-friendly project, then this is the one for you. So I've cut myself out a piece of paper here that measures 6 inches by 6 inches. And this is going to be the template I'm going to use for these unpaper towels that we're making. So you can use unpaper towels for all sorts of things. I like to use them as face wipes. You can use them as kitchen towels, all sorts of things. So I'm using a rotary cutter here, but otherwise you could draw around or pin around your shape and use scissors to cut it out. It's entirely up to you. But I like to use a rotary cutter and have a quilting ruler here that I can cut next to. There we go. So I'm going to cut out 3 pieces of this quilting cotton. I've got them layered on top of each other. And now I'm going to do the same thing here with this toweling. So if you want to use an old towel, that's absolutely fine. I do that quite a lot with towels that are starting to give up the ghost. I chop them up and turn them into towels for this kind of thing, face wipes. But if you wanted to give these as a gift, then maybe you want to use fresh toweling, in which case we do sell it by the metre at Franklin stores. So we're going to cut 3 of these out, 6 inches by 6 inches, just like the quilting cotton that we've already cut. And there we go. So we've now got 3 layers of quilting cotton, 3 layers of the toweling. So we're coming over now to the overlocker. This is one of our classroom overlockers from the Ipswich store. And I'm just getting it set up. So first thing we're going to do is lift the presser foot. There's a lever just at the back, just like with your sewing machine, that lifts the foot up, gives you clearance so you can bring your fabric in underneath. So get your chain of threads out the way towards the back. And then you're going to take the 2 layers of fabric and you're going to bring them together wrong sides together, not right sides together, which is what you want to do. We're doing it wrong sides together. And then you bring it in underneath the presser foot. Here's a little close-up for you. So you're going to bring the fabric in so it butts up against the blade there on the right. And so that when you bring the foot down, the needles, when they come down, will be coming just into the top edge of the fabric. So you can use your hand wheel here at the side just to get yourself started so you can see where your needles are going to come down. Tension's on 4, stitch length on 2.5. I'm just going to increase the differential feed a little bit just between the neutral and the 1.5, just because the toweling has a little bit of give to it. It's going to stop it from stretching out as we're sewing. So you want to have the toweling on the under layer so that your differential feed, the feed dogs, will stop it from stretching out. Then you're just going to sew all the way down the side, keeping nice and close to the blade, shaving off just a little bit as you go. And you're going to use your hand wheel now to just wheel to the end so that your next stitch, as the needles come down, would just be off the edge of your fabric. You're going to stop there with your needles in the highest position, lift your presser foot, pull yourself a little bit of slack there on your needle threads, and then you can pull the fabric back off the stitch finger and the chaining forks, and that will allow you to turn it round the corner. Then you're going to bring it back in against the blade. Again, make sure that as your needles come down, they'll just come into the top of the fabric, and then you just continue down the side again. Like I say, keeping the fabric pushed up against the blade, shaving off just a little bit as you go. And again, the same thing when you come to the end. So you're going to stop with your needles in the highest position so that if they did come down again, they would go off the fabric. You're going to lift your presser foot, pull yourself a bit of slack, turn around the corner, and then go back down again. And the same, stop just before the very edge, lift your needles up to the highest position, pull your presser foot up, pull yourself a little bit of slack, pull the fabric back and then around the corner, and then reposition yourself again just up to the side of the blade with the needles just coming down into the front of the fabric. You don't want them to do too much of a jump. Then when you come to this end bit with your starting chain, you're going to chop that off. And there are 2 options now. You can either chain off and trim your threads, or I'm going to show you another way, which is a stitch and flip. So we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to use our hand wheel just to come to the end, lift our presser foot, pull some slack, and instead of turning the corner, we're going to flip the whole piece of work over. You're going to bring it back in again. And this time you don't want the fabric to butt up against the blade. If you do, you're going to chop it off, which you don't want to do. You want to be just a little bit away, maybe a 1/16 of an inch away from the blade, a couple of millimetres. And then you're going to sew about 1 inch and then lift your presser foot, pull the fabric away and just chain off. And that's it. You're all done. That's how you turn a corner on a machine that can only go in a straight line. Thanks. Bye.